Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Evi Anisatul Mufidah, and here I will answer the question for the midterm test in Sociolinguistics class by Mr. Munawir. So the first question is, how can you decide whether your speech partner speak your language or different language? So first of all, we have to know first who is our speech partner, right? And after that we have to give attention for them and talk to them, or maybe just notice, are they using like kind of pronunciation or dialect, or using slang that can express what is the language they use. Or moreover, we can just ask them politely, are they use what is the language they are using? Is it English, Javanese, or Indonesian? Or if they are not using any language that we can use, I mean in here is Javanese, Indonesian, and English, so we can just ask them to communicate with us using just sign language, or maybe like body language, like a gesture, like that. The second question is, what is your mother tongue language? So my mother tongue language is Javanese, because I was born and have lived in here in Malang, East Java for 20 years. In here, is there any variation of it? You can find it in the society. So there so exactly, there are some variation that I can find in here, maybe like from here in Malang, and in the part of other Javanese we have different dialect. Like we actually is same Javanese, but we have different kind of dialect in our word in Javanese. So how can that be? It's basically because of some variation with language. It can be because of the different regional vocabulary, or because there is like the gap of the generation between the young and the the older, or maybe because they have intonation pattern between their language, something like that. So give the example for that. So for the example in here is the intonation pattern. So there are some variation intonation in every language or dialect, even though they actually same. It is Javanese, right? But uh, in here in Malang, with the dialect, I mean the intonation pattern with Pasuruan, it's quite different. My father is actually from Pasuruan, so I have known a little bit. And my mother is from here in Malang. So for the example in here, if you want to say, where will you go? Katenang di. It's like that in here in Malang, but it's different intonation if we are speaking Javanese in Pasuruan. They will be like that. No, katinandi. Katinandi. There is the pattern that are some word is high, but some word is going down. The intonation is different, even though they actually same word, but it's different. The next example is the regional vocabulary. So there are some region in Java, is East Java and Yogyakarta and Middle Java, that actually are Javanese, right? So there are different region in Java that maybe make them having a unique word or phrase that not common used in another part of Java. For example, is for the food, I mean for the name of the food, name of like cultural things, such as like in here they are usually say fried tempe with the batter is tempe goreng tepung. in here, but in other part of Java they say it's mendoan. It's same kind of food but it's different. For another example is bala-bala and weci in Surabaya. And number 3 is slang or slang expression that we are as a Japanese use. So in here in Malang, they actually have different kind of slang. So slang basically having a different expression between generation or maybe a social group. In my generation, in here in Malang, they have like kind a reverse word. Like in here, like kamu, they will say umak. So it's a reverse from kamu. Or maybe like walk. In here, walk become umlak. Umlak it's basically from mlaku. It's mean berjalan-jalan, like that. Or there are some slang words that I have known from my friend from Middle Java. They usually using like des. Des in here is actually from the word gondes. Or maybe like here in Malang they use re. Re it's mean like kids. Or here like are. Number 3, is there any diglossic situation in the language you speak? So of course it is. In almost every language have diglossic situation in it. So can you give the example of each usage and what do you think why this situation occur? So in here I will give an example for the language I use is Japanese language. So basically, there are two kind of Javanese different diglossic situation. So there is krama inggil and ngoko. So krama inggil in here is used for the formal situation, for the like traditional ceremony, traditional activity, and it usually used for the someone that we respect, like the elderly people. For the example is for the example in here is monggo pinara mlebet teng griya, monggo ditedo sekecaken. In here is used for someone greeting someone to come to their house. The next is ngoko is low Javanese. It's mean it's used for the informal situation and we can use it for the conversation with friends and for daily usage. In here for the example is aku ora ngerti apa-apa, aku gak duwe apa-apa. It's mean I don't understand anything or I don't have anything. So what do you think why this situation occur? The situation of the diglossic situation happen in Javanese maybe because some of reason. The main reason is actually from the traditional influence from the like the traditional from the elderly that we have to be polite and we have to know the hierarchy for each generation. That's why if we meet some elderly people, someone that we think they actually having respect. Next question number 3. Why is it so important to know the local norm when you stay? It is wrong to keep your own culture when you are not in your own society. So it's really important to know, to respect, and to be aware with the local norms or culture in the place that we live today. So basically, we cannot offend someone if we are from a different culture, ethnicity in the place we are living now, right? We have to live together. We are a human being, a social human being that have to communicate with each other. That's why it's really important to have a mutual respect for each other culture. But it's not wrong that you are keeping your culture or celebrate your traditional ethnicity culture because it's part of you, it's part of your whole life. But The main point is you have to appreciate and respect the other culture of the place you live today. In here, I'll say that peribahasa di mana diri berpijak, di situ langit dijunjung is really important. We are living in that place, so we have to know the norm, we have to aware, respect, and that's all. And number 5, the Chinese ethnic Indonesia have their own style of Bahasa Indonesia and be passed down to their children. Is that include into Pidgin? How can you explain this phenomenon? So in here I will explain to you that Pidgin is actually when some of group of people that have a different language come to the place that the people is having different language, and they will mix up the language they have and the language in here, right? And they will form a new language that is mixed together. I think the Chinese ethnic in Indonesia, they are not the kind of the Pidgin, but moreover, it can be said that it is a distinct variation or like Bahasa Indonesia, but with the Chinese characteristic like that. In this case, in this phenomena, it can be said that it's mixed from Indonesian language but with the loan word or bahasa pinjaman from Chinese word like that. In here I will give you the example for this kind of word like gopek, gocap, capek, and others. Thank you so much for listening my presentation today, and I guess thank you. That's all from me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you. Thank you.